Well, I came on today and found a new mandatory update required. So I have applied that update and a couple of really nice features. One is in the marketplace. You can actually now go here to look at the airports and see which ones actually have scenery related to them. Really a nice feature. It gives you a chance to even see, so it's kind of neat. If I want to fly an Arcadia Municipal a lot, I can see, oh, okay, somebody did scenery for it, and there's the cost, and there it is, and here's the executive, and so that is I think a pretty nice feature. And then World, you can come in here now, and you can. Oh, I didn't see this one. Boston and Cape Cod Canal. Oh, I'm going to have to get that one. I lived in Cape Cod for almost 30 years and drove over this bridge up to Boston every day for 6 years commuting. So I think that would be kind of fun. But yeah, so they gave us a new breakdown in here, as you can see by category, which I think makes it very nice. So now when I did the update, there were a few updates required for my sim. Now, first thing I did was I took everything out of my community folder because I just find that to be the smartest choice to make when you're doing any sort of an update to this program. So I took everything out of my community folder, applied the update, and when I came back in under Content Manager, the JU and the top rudder and 4 of the world updates all required additional updates. The world updates were each, I think, like 6 to 8 gigs each, and the JU and the top rudder solo here were 800 meg or something like that. So those 6 items needed to be updated after I did the mandatory update, which was around 3 gig in size, so it did not take long. Now, I'm really anxious to see some of the changes because they were specifically ones that were VR related. Some had to do with the lighting and the volumetric lighting in the VR cockpit, and others had to do with the propellers in the cockpits and so forth, and the propellers and how they act. And so I'm really anxious to see how that goes into play. Now, I put a couple of my planes back in after I did the update, and they were the Cub Crafter NX, the Monster NX Cub, which I think should be okay with the new update. The Diamond, I left a couple of the liveries and the enhancement package. And then my Vertigo with its liveries were the only ones that I put back in place in here. And so, like I said, the JU was updated, and the couple of the default planes are set to automatically use the new propellers and the propeller action. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think that's anything that you can actually select, so I'm not sure how that actually comes into play yet. But let's take a look and see. Let's go ahead and see if we can see any sort of a difference here. Let's find a nice place to take off from. Actually, let's see. Salt Lake City, sure. Oh, now this is new as well. Okay, so obviously when you go to an airport, if there's scenery available for it, it lets you know. Yeah, so one offer, Boston Logan International. Very interesting. And then, of course, we know that there was an update that we saw for the Cape Cod area. Is Barnstable Airport. Otis, no, nothing there. So I don't see the scenery showing up here, but the airports do if there's a new version. So let's go to Boardman International here because this plane actually would have been one that I think I would have seen flying around here quite often. So we're going to see what kind of a difference, if there's any, in the frames. Now, I normally, when I'm flying, will average 35 frames, 37, 38 frames in most situations. And so let's see if there's any sort of a difference here. Oh, I don't have my yoke actually in place right now. I got my joystick, so I picked the wrong plane for my hardware right now. So even though I fly virtual, I do use physical yoke, rudder, throttle quadrant, and a HOTAS stick and throttle quadrant. I know where they are by feel. I have them set up in front of me on a stand, roughly where they are in the airplane. So I just reach for what's in front of me in my headset, and I reach my own stick. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Well, we're already getting lower. Oh no, there we go, 32. Okay, maybe it just took a second to load up. So let's get some sound on here. Let's raise up the seat a little bit. All right, so I'm getting 32, so that's not bad. I got no complaints with 32 to 34. Let's see the propeller. Whoa, hey. Even with the brakes on, I can pull forward with this baby. So, but definitely saw some nicer propeller activity. Yeah, look at the shadowing there. You know, I might have to turn my gamma back up if the volumetric lighting has changed. Well, I'm not noticing any drop in my frame rates. They seem to be staying right where they were when I did my settings video yesterday. Just stuck my head through the window there for a second. So this is Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Here's Main Street down there. Okay, what I was saying is, first and foremost, I'm not noticing any drop in my frame rates. The quick review is that the propellers look better. Because now I don't recall seeing that, you know, that optical illusion that you see with propellers, where they seem to be spinning slowly and yeah, see, there we go, and they seem to like reverse direction. Yeah, that, to me, that does seem like it's better than it was, more realistically. But they also said not just visually, but the dynamics, things like the P-torque, and so those will have more of a play on prop airplanes. So if you fly with realism in place and know what P-torque is and all that, then you may notice a difference. But right now, it's all looking good. All right, let's try another flight with another plane. Oh, and then bring it back up. Yeah, looks good. Looking good. Frame rate's still good. And yeah, I think I could possibly say that right now the visual quality is better than what it was even prior to this update. I mean, this is looking pretty good for default Bing scenery. All right, this one usually lowers my frames a bit, so I'll be anxious to see if the update maybe improved anything here. But yeah, normally with the Junker and things like the 320, I'm more like 29 to 31 frames per second. Most of the general aviation planes, wow, I'm already possibly 34, 35. Well, all right, so that's good. I'm seeing 30, oh my gosh, I'm seeing 36, 37 frames there for a second. And that I usually do not get with this plane. So it might definitely be improved. Okay, landing lights are on. I don't need that. I would say that looks like some nice propeller motion there. So let's see. Let's bring down. Yeah, I'm seeing some very nice illusion there. Yeah, see now it's nice and slow, and then we speed her up, and yeah, I see the propeller's looking pretty good. And like I said, I am not usually getting 35 frames with this bird. Not with the graphics I have on. I usually have to turn it down. So there may be an improvement with the frame rate better. And you know what? I really like the sound of this plane. And for that reason, I like to open that up. Because you can. Alright, let's take the brakes off here. Still, oh look at this, 36, 35 frames still. And we're off. People don't realize this is a STOL. This thing can take off from some mighty short space. But this seems pretty good so far. Do I notice any difference in the cockpit? I think I might have to fly it for a while to really tell. There's definitely a difference in the overall look, but I may not be picking up on it quite like I would be if I had my gamma set at 100%. But if you watch my settings video, you'll see that under the remote desktop, the virtual desktop app, I have gamma set to 85% because I find Microsoft to be too bright normally. Well, you know, one of my favorite things to do with this airplane. Why not? Look at that engine. Isn't that thing beautiful? No, I'm not doing very good fuel management, but that's all right. This is just a test flight. Pretty big plane, huh? Reminds me of my DC-3. I think the wings are shorter. DC-3, I think, has 90-foot wings. I don't think these are 90-foot. And the sound, well, it's not quite the same. The DC-3, I think, has a much nicer roar. But as you can see, you know, I'm doing pretty good for my frame rates here. 36 frames can't be complained about. And like I said, if you go and you look at my settings, you'll see I have some pretty good settings set up. And like I say on that video, you know, what's recorded through the Oculus headset is a little bit crisper, a little bit clearer, but otherwise it's what I'm seeing is very close to what's being recorded and what you see. Alright, one more plane to try. And this is with still the latest Nvidia driver, which I think is 511.79. I checked yesterday, there was no new release. But if they stay on schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new release within a week or so. So now I'm in the PMDG DC-6. And you can see that my frames do drop. They're, like I said, closer to 29 to 31 on average. And I would normally tweak a couple things to bring that number up a little bit. I'm not sure I'm going to right now because, well, I'm really liking the way everything looks. And, you know, if it stays at 30 while I'm taking off and then increases once I'm up in the air, I can live with that. So let's see what happens. Go ahead and release, and parking brake, and trim should be good. All right. I mean, I'm still getting 30 inside the cockpit, which is actually better than normal, so but we'll see. Still 30, still 30. 28, 29, okay. So, yeah, fairly typical to what I usually get with this plane. Actually, maybe a little bit better. I think normally when I take off, I'd have to look at some previous videos. I think it's probably closer to 26 to 27, and then climbs to 30 to 31 once I get away from the ground. And in this case, I think I might have picked up that, say 2 to 4 frames per second. Because yeah, I'm getting 31 right now, which, you know, it's not great, but I'll take it. And like I said, I have my settings high enough that I got room to tweak them if I have to. But I don't know if I have to. I mean, I'm seeing swimming pools, I'm seeing bushes and trees, I'm seeing cars. I'm getting 30 frames. Again, on the volumetric lighting, hard to say for sure. Hard to say. I might have to look at a video I shot of this area yesterday and see if I notice any difference. Because I actually did about 6 flights around here yesterday and recorded some of them, so. And again, this is the default Bing scenery, the default Bing
PMDG
maps.
leaving my airspace frequency change approved. La Palma Tower PMDG DC-6 frequency change.
Yeah, I think this is performing better than it was the last time I flew this plane. Because I know the last time I flew this plane, to get these frame rates, I had to turn down a lot of settings. And I have not turned down any settings. And right now, this looks pretty awesome. So, yeah, so latest game update, not a major one, but it fixed quite a few good issues. Definitely made some improvements to the VR performance. The VR props, I think they, I don't know if the PMDG is actually going to be affected by it. And I have to look more at it to see, but if you read the release notes, you'll see that they talk about the fix not just being aesthetic, but also actual performance.
Crafters Golf November X-ray leaving my airspace frequency change approved. La Palma Tower Cup Crafters Golf November X-ray frequency change.